Hello there, everybody. This is Mel Allen. Run out of gas and no place to go? Well, it's time to fill up on premium baseball. In New York, Billy Martin pumps up the Yankees. In San Francisco, the Giants get a full tank of runs. In Montreal, the Expos fuel more Philly frustration. In Atlanta, the Braves top off the Dodgers. In Boston, there's no energy shortage at Fenway Park. And in Baltimore, the Orioles never run out of gas in the final inning. Big league tune-ups and checkups. Next on This Week in Baseball. Brought to you by Gillette. When it comes to personal grooming, most people come to Gillette, makers of Atra Razor, America's original pivoting head razor.
He wasn't before, now he's an Atra. He wasn't before, now he's an Atra. Now he's an Atra.
Gillette Atra, the pivoting head razor 8 out of 10 triers preferred to anything they'd ever used before. Superior face-hugging action with new micro-smooth twin blades make Atra Gillette's best shave. So,
don't be a before, move up to Atra.
Here's to good friends. Tonight is kind of
Frank
special.
burn the trout yet?
No, but we're ready.
Okay, you guys, knock it off. I don't believe it. And a little something to go with it.
Lowenbrow.
Lowenbrow. And you guys don't deserve it, but my trout does.
When you want the taste of a truly great American beer, tonight, let it be Lowenbrow.
Well,
Frank, we apologize. The beer's terrific.
This is Candlestick Park, where the San Francisco Giants got a little wind in their sails in the National League West. Throws were sailing too, but not sailing away. Out. He's out. And he's out too. And putting them out of the park, Jack Clark on a surge of late, sailing the ball away. Clark got his home run total up to 13, his RBIs to 51. Clark and company recently traveled to Cincinnati and put their bats in motion, taking 2 of 3 while trying to maneuver around the Reds into second place. San Francisco isn't supposed to have much muscle in the lineup, but believe it or not, the Giants were leading the league in runs scored. You'd figure them to rank high in pitching, but only reliever Gary LaBelle has an ERA under 3.50. Vida Blues is out of sight, while Ed Halicki and John Montefusco have been mostly out of action. Still, these Giants are not out of the running in the West. Now, the Atlanta Braves may be out of the running, but they aren't exactly standing around and watching. It's their fans who do the watching. They got an eyeful when Bobby Cox's kids made life still a little bit more miserable for manager Tom Lasorda and his troubled Dodgers, who lost 15 of 20 ball games. The Braves took 3 out of 4 from the pennant defenders with assists from Pepe Frias. Jeff Burrows. Jerry Royster. Scorching Gary Matthews, hitting near .320 with 16 homers, batted .458 for the week, including some cheap shots to balance out the long shots. Bob Horner has also come on lately, hitting near .300 with 10 long shots of his own. And rookie Rick Matula went the distance for the first time in his career, evening his record to 5-5. In the National League East, the Montreal Expos of Dick Williams are still the top story, a story read more than once this season by manager Danny Ozark and the Phillies, hardly accustomed to being thrown out of first place. The Phils wish they could throw Montreal out of sight, or at least out at second base. Some may be at a loss for words as to how Montreal got so far in front, but not the manager.
Everybody's doing their job, and this is what it takes to make a winning ball club. They're pulling for one another. The enthusiasm is high. The fans inspire the players even more. Yuppie has been outstanding. Everything's just going well. We're at the peak of one of our peaks, and we know we have valleys too, but we're going to keep those to a minimum if we can.
Right now, the Expos can do just about anything. Actually, Williams can depend on more reliable efforts, such as the hitting and speed of Warren Cromartie. Or the ever-improving bat of Larry Parrish. Before this series in Montreal, the Phils had lost all 6 games to the Expos. Now, Danny Ozark was losing again. Steve Rogers lost a no-hitter in the 8th, but won a one-hit shutout 3-0. That gave Montreal 8 straight wins against the Phillies. Slugger Larry Christensen, a .474 hitter this season, finally broke the spell with 3 hits, 2 doubles and a home run. Christensen was also the winning pitcher. As for the Phillies, they're still looking for any way possible to cool down those red-hot Montreal Expos. Now, it's time for this week's Volkswagen quiz. Connie Mack won more games than any manager in baseball history, but he also lost more. Based on at least 5 years' experience, who are the 5 managers with the best all-time won-lost records? Stay tuned.
That Volkswagen Rabbit really handles. Is that why you're driving it?
Not really.
Well, is it because it can go from 0 to 50 in 8.3 seconds? But then why are you driving a Rabbit?
Because it has more headroom than my Rolls Royce.
Is that such a big deal?
It is. If you're Will Chamberlain.
Volkswagen does it again.
In the American League West, seems like everyone's getting together again. California, Texas, Kansas City, and Minnesota, just like old times. California held a comfortable 4.5-game lead over Texas and the rest of the pack after splitting a 4-game series with the Rangers, who were still treading water, although reliever Jim Kern picked up his 10th save. But when the Rangers traveled up to Oakland, they began riding a new wave. Taking 3 from the A's sure helped. John Henry Johnson, who served time in Oakland cellar, proved he can serve Texas pitching needs with his 2nd Ranger win. And the Rangers served John Henry well, too, with defensive support. And offensive support. Rookie Pat Putnam, hitting in the 290s, gave Johnson 2 runs with RBIs number 29 and 30. And veteran John Ellis gave him 3 more, while pushing his RBI total up to 31. While Texas feasted on Oakland, California dropped 3 to Kansas City, and Minnesota swept 4 from Chicago. So when Jim Kern picked up save number 11, suddenly the race was on once again, with 4 teams back in the saddle in the American League West. Meanwhile, in the American League East, the first-place Baltimore Orioles continue to dance circles around everyone. For example, the Detroit Tigers. Sparky Anderson, with a 2nd-best winning percentage among active managers, matched wits with Earl Weaver, who now has the best percentage. That's because Earl's Birds have really soared, enjoying the best record in baseball, despite not always having the services of ace Jim Palmer. Palmer and other Orioles have had their family squabbles in the past, but all subscribe to the theory of Weaver's genius when it comes to winning.
I've had the fortune and the misfortune of playing for probably the best manager in the last 10, 12 years in Earl Weaver. And I think one thing about Earl is he very rarely ever gets outmanaged.
It's kind of a love-hate relationship. He gets on you sometimes, makes you feel like you're a Little League ball player, not someone who's been around the big leagues like a Palmer who's been around 13 years. So he gets things out of you in different ways. He doesn't treat everybody the same. He gets the best out of every ball player.
This season, Weaver's pushed all the right buttons. Sparky Anderson made some moves during a 5-5 tie in the bottom of the 8th, and so did Weaver, sending up Terry Crowley to pinch hit. That gave Baltimore a 6-5 lead, and the Orioles have been phenomenal in the late innings. A little luck hasn't hurt. When Detroit tried to rally in the 9th, a line drive became a game-ending double play. Now, how about this? 12 out of 20 recent Baltimore victories came during the Orioles' last at-bat. During their 4-game series, the Birds twice knocked out the Bengals with 9th-inning homers. An example, runners at first and second, 2 outs, bottom of the 9th, Eddie Murray at bat. And there it is. Going, it is gone. Managerial genius? Well, don't ask Sparky about that. Perhaps it's a matter of Baltimore bombing, since the Birds are 2nd in the league in homers. Whatever it is, Earl's troops are well trained to do exactly what the manager wants.
Earl plays, every game is not a game, it is a war, and the idea is to win the war.
And speaking of wars, the New York Yankees aren't about to wave a white flag of surrender, not under the new leadership of battling Billy Martin. Injuries have put the Yankees in the hole, but since Billy's return, they've looked more aggressive and played sharp defense. There are times when Greg Nettles seems to be a one-man show at Yankee Stadium. The crowd stands up for his glove and his bat. Against Cleveland with 2 out in the bottom of the ninth, Nettles unloaded home run number 13 to tie the game. With Reggie Jackson still out, Nettles has done his best to preserve the Bronx Bomber tradition. Meanwhile, Yankees like Bucky Dent scratch away for their hits. This was a 10th-inning gamer as the Yankees swept Cleveland for a modest 4-game winning streak, but still leaving them far behind the Orioles and Boston Red Sox. The Red Sox have kept the fans buzzing at Fenway Park, hot on the tail of Baltimore. While Don Zimmer has yet to achieve the managerial reputation of a Weaver, Martin, or Anderson, he's got his Sox on the right foot, playing great ball. Butch Hobson's arm looks strong again. And as for the Beantown Belters, they're still awesome. Fred Lynn continues to lead the power charge, leading the league in homers. And at age 39, Carl Yastrzemski is as dangerous as ever. Can even hit a foul pole from 300 feet. Now add the name of Bob Watson, recently of Houston, to the list of Fenway sluggers. This shot just missed the foul pole, but was fair enough to beat Toronto in the 11th, Watson's 3rd homer in 4 games. A change of scenery can work wonders for a guy, especially if he goes to Fenway Park, where scenes like this seldom change. Now the answer to this week's Volkswagen quiz, brought to you by the '79 Rabbit, Dasher, and Scirocco. Volkswagen does it again. Yankee pilot Joe McCarthy had the best winning percentage ever. Sparky Anderson was number 2 before the year began, but now Earl Weaver has taken over the 2nd spot. Cardinal manager Billy Southworth ranks 3rd, Sparky's 4th, and 5th place belongs to John McGraw of the New York Giants.
He was a before, now he's an Atra. He was a before, now he's an Atra. Now he's an Atra.
Gillette Atra, the pivoting head razor 8 out of 10 triers preferred to anything they'd ever used before. Superior face-hugging action with new micro-smooth twin blades make Atra Gillette's best shave. So,
don't be a before, move up to Atra.
Who'd ever think a car that looks like this could get good gas mileage like this? Based on EPA estimates, the Porsche 924 can go 278 miles in the city or 524 miles on the highway with just a single tank of gas. The Porsche 924. Whoever thought a Porsche could be this practical?
You know what they say in baseball, keep the ball in play and something's sure to happen. So let's put it in play and see what does. The Yankees face former teammate Calamity Cliff Johnson, a dangerous bat. What's the call? Fair bet? The coach looks a little nervous, and he should be. Everyone's on edge. Oh, not again. The Indians say, hey, go to the opposite field, away from us. Mr. Johnson still at bat. Ball 4. Well, that's one way to take the bat out of his hands. The bat was so dangerous, the Yankees just had to get rid of it. Phil Niekro also has a dangerous weapon, the knuckleball. Watch. Who needs voodoo when you've got this? The curse of the knuckler strikes all. Hitters have trouble. And fielders have trouble. Is it E for error or H for hex? Managers need a lot of patience in this game. Now here's a case where you'll observe that the patients are the infielders. Get ready for a rundown clinic. How about that? The runner calls for a breather, but the manager, well, he'd like to call for an aspirin. Finally, Ron LaFleur and the Tigers wanted to call it quits after this play against Boston. Here goes. Out of his glove and into the seats. Now that's odd, but it's a home run, right? Well, LaFleur certainly thinks so. But the umpires don't think so. So out comes Sparky Anderson. Don Zimmer stays cool, but keep an eye on Sparky. It seems that although the ball was touched in fair territory, it went over the fence foul. Now how about that? Rule it a ground rule double. A manager gets a few months off and he forgets just how tough life can be. People listen, but no one really understands, do they, Sparky? Maybe he ought to think about more pleasant thoughts, like the 3 days off coming up at the All-Star break. In fact, only a few days remain to cast All-Star ballots. In addition to punching out their ballots in record numbers, many fans are also using the power of the pen to make their choices. Lou Brock of the Cardinals sure merits consideration, hitting close to .350 while closing in on 3,000 hits. After last season's slump, Lou isn't on the ballot this year. But if you think baseball's all-time base-stealing king should be an all-star in his last season, you can just write him in. While you're at it, you might consider Kansas City's Willie Wilson, a much younger speedster who can really charge up a ballpark. He's hit well over 300 with more than 30 stolen bases and 3 inside the park home runs. Another speedster, Omar Moreno of the Pirates, deserves consideration as a write-in candidate. The Pittsburgh center fielder has hit above 300 while leading the National League in steals. Want more write-ins? How about Willie Mays Aikens, whose namesake dominated All-Star play for 2 decades? Aikens has hit 13 homers with some 50 RBIs, but wasn't playing full-time till Rod Carew was injured. The departure of Pete Rose gave Cincinnati's Ray Knight his chance, and has he ever capitalized? Hitting around .320, but he's still missing from the ballot. And so is Seattle's Bruce Bhakti, fighting for the league lead in hitting and runs batted in with an average around 350, RBIs around 60. All these players and others deserve right-in consideration for this year's All-Star game at Seattle's Kingdom. Finally, Oscar Gamble of the Texas Rangers, the recipient of this week's Gillette Special. In 7 games, Gamble collected 14 hits and 19 at-bats for a sizzling .737 average. He also belted 2 homers and drove in 8 runs. Attaway to ramble, Gamble. That's all for now, folks. See you next week on This Week in Baseball.
Here's a reminder, it's English leather or nothing at all.
English leather cologne for men.